Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Life as a Chad YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Well, I hope all of you guys are having a fantastic week. We're heading into the weekend here. I wanted to briefly, I for whatever reason, I didn't do this video yesterday. Uh, I guess I suppose I just haven't really started to think in the realm of some of these like major channels where uh, things like debate coverage they do the day of. It's a live stream, and I mean it's like studio quality. So it's something that I pay attention to, and I kind of just have like a wait and see kind of approach. Let's see if there's any major highlights, anything major that happens. And if it ends up being something that I think is worthy of discussion, then I'm okay bringing it up. And for what it's worth, as you guys know, I tell you guys all the time, my channel is political, it's social, it's cultural, it's all of the above, similar to like Andrew Wilson, and some of the hell, even Fresh and Fit. Now each channel has their, I would say, more of an emphasis or specificity to the things that they talk about. But for me, I think I do a pretty good job of equally covering all of them. So I have talked about Trump before. I have given my thoughts on him before. I have given my thoughts on America and the things going on in America. So, anyways, here we are. The debate happened yesterday between former President Donald Trump and current president, depending on who you ask, Joe Biden. And I'm sure you guys have heard plenty of people's opinions on it, plenty of people's coverage on it. If you did indeed have time to watch it, I definitely watched some of it, if not most of it, vis-a-vis like a watch along, a viewing party. And so here are my thoughts on it. Okay. By the way, guys, smash that subscribe button there at the very least. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Share this video out. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers. I can taste it. I can feel it. We're so close. And without further ado, let's get into this. So also, guys, I'm going to be showing you guys the updated from a day removed, as I have done in the past. And these videos have been very popular. People seem to be interested in the betting odds, which of course you can look up yourself as well, I suppose, of the current or the most recent or upcoming election that will take place. So I'm going to be viewing that and giving my thoughts on the updated betting numbers. Now, let's start here. What are my thoughts on the actual debate? So I think before we get there, you guys need to know I have been critical of Trump, okay? Like many people have. I have said that I like Trump. I think he's a great guy. He's a great American figure. Is he flawed? Of course. All men are flawed. And I have cautioned on my channel numerous times from you, the viewer, the average human being, from getting emotionally tied, emotionally invested in YouTube creators or public figures because they are flawed. They are not Jesus Christ. They are not God. They are not perfect. Okay. That doesn't mean that you can't take their thoughts and ideas and hold them to high esteem, but even still, because those thoughts and ideas come from human beings, they will be flawed, they will be imperfect. Now, specifically with Trump, I just don't think that he has the same tenacity that he had in 2014 through 2016. What we saw from Trump I would say, yeah, 24 to 2016 was something that we had never seen before. It took the media, it took American civilization, not just American civilization, but the world by storm. Okay. It was love him or hate him. It was what he was saying was grabbing people's attention. And so, you know, for somebody like me who cares so deeply, as I'm sure a lot of you guys do as well, for this country, Trump throughout his presidency and thereafter has made a lot of mistakes. And I have not been shy about stating those mistakes, namely the support that he gives to certain groups, and the fact that he did not get building the wall done. He also, uh, surprisingly, considering what he did as a profession for his life as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, made a lot of shitty hires within his presidency. He did not make the correct choices in putting some of the people in place that could implement his will in office, in what he said that he was going to do during his campaign. Now, the main thing is, because I don't want to stay on that too much, you can hear it in other videos that I've done. Fast forward to now, and he just doesn't seem to have the same energy, the same willingness to say outrage to for some people, not for me, outrageous things. Now, I want to be clear that the stuff that he was saying 2014 to 2016 is like commonplace conservatism. It's stuff that I have heard my entire life. Okay. It's not, when I heard Trump say it, it was not surprising to me. It was like, finally, we're hearing somebody say this shit. Finally, we have somebody who's actually saying this stuff. Okay. So, but to a lot of people, it was shocking. And I think if I look at that message and fast forward to now, and Trump is steering away from a lot of that language, a lot from a lot of those ideas, those thoughts. Now, the other thing is, again, as a whole, the energy, the things that he's been discussing just has not been the same. Now, I do want to give some credit to Trump as far as being willing to admit that he has the establishment, the deep state, the left has thrown everything that they can at that man. They have thrown the kitchen sink, the house, the fucking boat, everything at this man. And I'm sure that if I went through it as well, that would be very debilitating to a certain degree as well. Okay. That is not an easy thing to go through. It's not. I mean, this guy, I thought that Bush was the most persecuted president in the history of, or one of like top five as far as U.S. presidents go. But Trump is by far number one. I mean, you'd have Nixon, maybe Abraham Lincoln, George Bush, Trump. I mean, Trump is, he's number one. He is somebody that has totally, totally been put against the ringer, laid bare, and been constantly attacked at every turn by people that he has supported, by people he put in his cabinet, by the media, by people that he knew in his life before politics, the whole 9 yards. Okay. Now, the last thing that I want to say on that is ultimately some of this is Trump's fault. So, on one hand, while I want to give him some slack, I want to cut him some slack with that. On the other, I also completely believe and acknowledge that a lot of this could have been avoided had Trump put the right people in place when he was president and stuck true and firm to his campaign promises. A lot of this could have been avoided. He probably would have won the presidency, whether you think it was rigged or not. he probably would have won regardless of the rigging, because had he put the right people in place to make certain decisions, number one, Koof probably would have happened differently, and how that was carried out would have happened differently. That's number one. I mean, pretty much everything in his cabinet would have been different. The support from the voters that maybe didn't usually support Republican candidates that supported Trump, because he had this appeal to blue collar, everyday Americans that otherwise were disenfranchised. Okay. He would have garnered that same support had he fulfilled some of his promises. Now, the other thing, the main thing is that the left, and I've said this many times on my channel, the left has absolutely no issue going after their political opponents. And that was something that we finally saw in a Republican candidate with Trump. He was willing to go after the left. Okay. Now, ultimately, though, he really only did that in his campaign. When he became president, he took a back seat, and he was constantly on the defensive, albeit it was a lot of shit being thrown his way, but he was constantly on the defensive, and he did not go after the deep state and drain the swamp like he said he would. He did not investigate Hillary Clinton. He did not investigate Obama for the spying stuff. And so this is what I'm referring to when I say that some of this is his fault, because had he done these things, number one, the left would have realized that he's not somebody to be fucked with. And two, he would have garnered a lot of support had he pardoned Julian Assange and things like that. Okay. So, anyways, let's go to the debate. Those are my thoughts on Trump. Okay. And I think it is important to give that snapshot kind of where I'm at and where a lot of people who think like I do are at with Trump. I have been tired as fuck of seeing on Fox News them constantly talking about how Biden is disheveled, he's old, he's tired, this and that. It to a certain at a certain point, it's like, okay, enough already. Obviously, the left does not give a shit. They already voted for this guy once. Okay, they obviously don't care. And also, I mean, you saw it in Pennsylvania. The left, on a certain level, could care less about the physical and mental clarity of a candidate. Okay, that not all of them, but a lot of them. But with that being said, it still is. If I had to like rate it out of 10, the importance as a whole, conservatives and liberals on the importance of mental and physical clarity and fitness, I'd probably give it like a 5 or a 6. It used to be like a 8 or a 9. Now it's like a 5 or a 6. So the debate last night, and I'm going to see if I can find some clips. Biden came out extremely fucking weak, and he looked terrible. For somebody like myself, it was not surprising, considering the clips that I have seen from this guy since he has been in office. He started terribly. And Trump had an absolutely golden opportunity to absolutely pounce and give a one-shot knockout against Biden. The other thing is that it turned out that the moderators were pretty fucking fair. They were pretty fair. And that is rare. Usually in debates, if it's a lefty versus a righty, usually the leftist candidate is given far more leeway than the right. And that was not the case. I thought that they were about as fair as they could be. It's probably one of the most fair debates between a right and a left figure that I've seen. in my life, honestly. And I was thinking about it today, and I really think that the reason why they decided to do that is because they know that CNN is, due to Donald Trump, is seen as fake news. And considering Donald Trump is still in this political space, if you're going to have him on the debate stage, that's an extreme risk for your network. And so they went out of their way to be as fair and unbiased as possible. And I thought, honestly, I thought for CNN, it was a great look. It was really good for them to have this. So let me see. Maybe let's type in. Let's just type in Joe Biden and see what we get. So let's check this out.
If we find both hours, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if
wow,
we finally beat Medicare, we finally providing housing for Black Americans, the impact on the choice, the idea that they're gonna, I've been proposing that everybody, the millionaires pay 1%. So no one after, I've not raised the cost of Social Security for anybody. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. And wants to get away with get rid of
that was the best. That was the best part of the debate, which I'll circle back to, in which Trump basically called out Biden and his fitness through golf. And Biden said that he had like a 6 handicap, and Trump was giving him shit on it like old Trump would. And Trump, you can hear Trump say never. And the way he said it was perfect. It was absolutely, honestly, that was the highlight of the debate, which I'll circle back to, of overall the missed opportunities for the Don.
Medicare for the ability for us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it stopped. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
So let me see if there's any, let's maybe see this. Let's see what this
Didn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world. Troops have, of course, died on his watch. He said he's put in a $15 per shot cap on insulin and Medicare. It's a $35 a month cap. He said it's a $200 cap on overall drug spending in Medicare. It's $2,000 a year. He said the border now has fewer crossings than when Trump was in office. That's generally not true. He said, or at least strongly suggested, unemployment was at 15% when he took office. It was actually 6.4. He said Trump wants to get rid of Social Security. Trump doesn't. He said billionaires pay 8.2% in taxes. It's much higher. He said Trump told Americans to inject bleach amid COVID. We know Trump made foolish comments infectant injection, but didn't frame it as advice to people. And Biden said the Border Patrol endorsed him. No, its union supported the border bill he supported, never endorsed him himself. In some of them, he said he's the only president in a while who didn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world.
Okay, so that's basically it. Let's see what this is.
The total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people.
So, all right, I'm just going to wrap up here and give my thoughts. So I really do think that Trump could have absolutely jumped on this even more. Uh, you know, as I said, I was not surprised. I've seen these clips for the last couple of years. I've seen these clips going back to 2020. Okay, anybody who is being honest about things and trying to be as unbiased as possible knows that this is bullshit. That Biden has always been, or in the past 4 years, has been a weak, disheveled man. I'm not surprised by this. So it really made me think about, okay, because this is not surprising at all. In fact, I was surprised at how surprised others were. I was expecting this. This is exactly what I was expecting. And it made me think about, okay, what was the Democrat Party thinking? And I think the only answer to this is basically two things. One, I think that they were hoping that they would be able to take Trump. That was their number one plan, was that some of these cases, these hearings, or whatever the case may be, these accusations would take root. The American people would get behind him, especially 1-6. After, JAN 6, and Trump would basically be forced not to run. I think they were hopeful that Trump, if that wasn't possible, that enough shit would be thrown against him that another Republican candidate would win. And I made a video a while back saying that I don't love Trump of late, but if you look at how the establishment responds to Trump, he needs to win the Republican nomination, because he is such a thorn in their side. He has to win this nomination. And that's why none of the other Republican candidates would suffice, because the establishment doesn't give a fuck about them. And so I think that that's the other alternative, is that if they weren't able to totally take him out, they were hopeful that he would have enough shit on his face and he would lose to DeSantis or Nikki Haley or some shit like that. This is the last clip that we're going to watch.
Whether he would stand by the election results this November. He went back and forth about where he stands on one of the most critical issues of freedom in America, which is the right of a woman to make decisions about their own body. He has been completely ambiguous and all over the place about where he stands on that issue, despite the fact that he hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and that's exactly what they did. And just 3 years ago, we commemorated the 2-year anniversary of Dobbs, wherein women across our country have been denied emergency health care,
all that may be
suffered
true.
miscarriages
All that may
to the
be
point
true.
that
But the president of the
these
United
facts are
States
very
was not
important.
able to make that case to Donald Trump on the stage tonight. I mean, you debated against then Vice President Vice President Biden 4 years ago, and he was a very different person on the stage 4 years ago when you debated him. I mean, that's certainly true, is it not?
Anderson,
wow.
The point has to be performance in terms of what a president does. A president who incites an insurrection against the Capitol. No, but I got the point that you're making about a 1.5 hour debate tonight. I'm talking about 3.5 years of performance in work that has been historic.
But
whether
is that
it be
the man who we
the
saw
former
on the
guy,
stage
the other
tonight,
guy,
is that the
other
person
guy
you
on
see
the
in
debate
meetings every day?
stage, the person that you saw on the debate stage that has, for the last 3.5 years, up until today, performed in a way that has been about, whether it be in the Oval Office, negotiating bipartisan deals, so that we have an infrastructure, a real infrastructure plan where we're putting trillions of dollars on the streets of America to upgrade our infrastructure.
All right, so that's enough. So the only other alternative that I can think of for why they were okay with putting Biden on the stage last night is simply that they were hoping that another option would present itself by now, by way of a Gavin Newsom or a Michelle Obama, and it simply hasn't. And so, in other words, they have no other fucking choice, okay, but to roll this guy out there. But I was like, damn, I'm not surprised by this. This is who this guy is. He is not the same Joe Biden from 20 years ago. So he looked like shit. Trump could have pounced on him a lot more. I think that this is in step with what Trump has been the last 3-4 years. He's tried to be measured. By the way, I want to make a point about CNN. I do think by and large, well, maybe not by and large, but to me, the response from the liberal media has been far more honest. That's not to say that it's been honest as a whole, but more honest than I expected. Some of the responses and the openness to Biden's issues, I've been surprised by, which does lead me to believe that it is far more of an option for Biden to be replaced by Gavin Newsom than it's ever been before. Or maybe they are just tired of Biden and protecting this guy. I mean, all of these are possibilities. I think the former is probably more likely, but I also think as a whole, CNN made a concerted effort to appear fair. And for the most part, they did about as well as you could expect CNN to do. So, if not better. So Trump could have done more. He had a few good moments, but, and I heard somebody say this last night, and I totally agree. Debates are like basketball games or sports. Okay. The spectators remember a few key moments of the game, and it's the same thing within debates. People remember a few key moments, and that's it. And so when you're in Trump's position and you actually have a somewhat fair moderation by way of CNN, and you have a disheveled, weak Biden, you got to jump on the throat. You got to put the foot down and end it. And I don't think Trump did that. I think he left the door open. I think he was hesitant to slam the door and appear mean or rude and obnoxious and stuff like that. And, I could be wrong, but I don't think overall that's the best tactic for Trump. Now, at the end of the day, guys, you guys got to understand that these campaigns have campaign managers, they have analysts, consultants. And so these talking points have been filtered through about 30, 50 people by the time they get to Trump. And, we're not always hearing Trump and Biden outright and what they truly think and what they truly believe. And, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I'm trying to see which one looks better. So he could have, time will tell if Trump, is going to regret not stepping on the throat of Biden and really exposing him last night. But overall, I would say that it was more of a positive night, not because of anything like especially good that Trump did, but more so because of how terrible and shitty Biden was. So let's look at electionbetting.com. Let's take a look at that. But we'll take a look at it real quick. I still don't know if I'm sold on Trump. I did like some of his non-answers to certain issues and not like completely answering it in a certain way like most Republican candidates would. on YouTube, I'm not going to talk about it, but I do think he did well with the Ukraine issue. Not as well as he could have, but well enough. And I do think he did well with the Israel-Palestinian issue as well. All right. So this is John Stossel. He's a libertarian. This is his website. I've reviewed it in the past. Now, election betting sites are not always correct, but they are surprisingly accurate. So this has even changed from the last like 10 minutes. I just looked at this 30 minutes ago. Biden had went down like 20% or 16% when I checked it. You know, Newsom is up. So this is in the last day. Okay. Trump is down 1.5%. Biden is down 4%, up 2%, up 0.5%, up 0.3. And basically, the reason why they're all up is because there is speculation that Biden will be replaced. Okay. So, you know, there you guys have it. Let's see. The last thing that we'll check is last 4 hours. Let's check that out. So in the last 4 hours, he's actually up 0.2, but so is Biden. Newsom is down 0.6. Let's look last day. So Trump went up yesterday, and then he went back down. Then he took a dip once more, and he's kind of leveled out at 58%. You guys can see here, Biden went down drastically. He went down from 36.4%. So Trump was leading even before this to 27. So 36.3.4 to 27, back up, and then back down by the end of the night. He went down to 22%. Then he took a step up, down, up. He's kind of leveled off. His lowest percent was 20%. Then he's kind of leveled. He trended back upwards. So, all right, guys, that's pretty much it. You know, the last thing I want to say is regardless of this, guys, you have to remember, especially in today's day and age where America really is so split and so strongly split, this election is going to be close regardless. No matter if Trump is leading in the polls, it's going to be close. And I really believe that anything is possible. I think it's possible that the Supreme Court says Trump cannot be president due to other issues, being a felon, whatever the case may be. I think it's possible that Biden is replaced for Newsom. I think it's possible that it is truly going to be a Biden-Trump ticket. There's one more extreme possibility that I would not be surprised with either. I'm not going to, well, shoot, Trump is assassinated. I definitely do. I'm sad to say it. Think it's a possibility. And regardless, it's going to be a close election. Trump versus Biden will be close, regardless of if they keep it, so that just is what it is. I do think that as of right now, Trump is clearly in the lead. I think a lot of people are disenfranchised with Biden, with this government, and they are kind of tired of the lie that they were told as why Trump needed to be gone. Trump really is starting to kind of level out. He is not, to me, he is not seen as much of a like fringe extreme candidate. Now, depending on who you ask, that's a good thing or a bad thing. So, he's kind of leveling out a little bit as he has chilled out. Now, to me, that's representative of him being more in line with establishment politics than what he was, which was a dissident. So, but Trump's doing okay right now. There's a lot of time left. A lot can happen. Anything is possible. False flags. I mean, you name it. Anything is possible. And they do not want this man to be president. So take that for what it is. There was something else that was on my mind that I wanted to say. May not have been that important. So, yeah, we'll see. A lot of time left. Trump has got to keep his foot on the gas pedal. Unfortunately, he, to me, seems a little bit disengaged and has been of late. But you know, what are you going to do? So, time will tell. I'll keep you guys posted regardless. I was trying to remember the last thing that I had in mind for this, and kind of see, but regardless, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Very curious to hear what you guys have to say. This is going to be an interesting next couple of months. I know I keep saying anything's possible. It really is true. And you know, just keep your eyes out for it. Try and find as much truth as you can. And just don't be naive. Anything is possible. We've seen a bunch. Hell, coup happened last time. A whole pandemic happened last time, right before the election. Okay, we got wars going on. Oh, I mean, there's a ton of possibilities. So, anyways, guys, like, comment, share, subscribe, and last but not least, DBAP. Don't be a pussy willow and facts or feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. Love you, kings. See you guys next time. Christ is king. Peace.